Hey you guys, what's up? It's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel, Real Talk Recovery, where we talk about recovery from addiction and I share my life with you. So, what's up, you guys? I hope y'all are all having a wonderful day. I told you guys I would come back on and chill with y'all, so that's what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to get Jexie's link to her Discord for those of you that want to join that. Okay. Oh, there's my face. Oh, there's my face. Oh, there's my face. Oh, there's my face. Do you hear? Oh, there's my face. Do you hear? Oh, it's echoing. I am such a nerd, you guys. Okay. Oh, I'm coming on. I was totally just like in a space mode. Hey, Miriam, what's up, girl? So I was coming on to let you guys know that tonight at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, so I think that's at 6:30 Central, 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern, and 5:30 on the West Coast. Jeff from Therecovery is going to be having a recovery support meeting, and I'm also going to get his channel and link it in the comments so that way you guys will know where to find his video at. He's going to go live, and I'm sure we're going to talk about recovery and maintenance and all that good stuff. Jeff's channel, but oh shoot, I kind of have to link it. There you go. Uncle Hank's drinking buddy. What's up, Uncle Hank's drinking buddy? Good. What's going on with you? So yeah, I just wanted to come on here and chit chat with you guys about life. And so earlier today, I had gotten on and I was talking all about tips and tricks, tips on tapering on your Suboxone if you're on maintenance. Hold on. And so I kind of wanted to go a little further and talk about a couple other things that like tips and tricks. Like, I guess we could call this video how to know if you're an addict. Okay? How to know if you're an addict. So, a lot of the times, you know, when we're out there and we're getting, maybe we just started dabbling with substances. Maybe we're not fully addicted yet. Maybe we have just kind of like got on that whole bandwagon, right? A lot of people that, reach out to me, some of them don't know. They're like, I don't know if I'm really an addict or not, or I don't know if I'm really an alcoholic or not. So what I thought we could do is I could kind of share with you guys how I realized that I was an addict. What was the turning point? What was the thing that made me realize, you know what? I got a problem. You know what? This is getting serious. So, in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, what it talks about is they say, if you can do an about face and turn away from alcohol or drugs and never go back, then my hat is off to you. Like, wow, that's really good. Because if you're an alcoholic or an addict, you cannot do that. You cannot just turn away from alcohol and drugs and just turn it off. That's not how addiction works. Hold on, let me text your daddy real fast. That's not how the disease of addiction works. It's not a switch that you can just turn off. Can you check and see if there are any Hallmark? Okay, here you go, bub. Hey, Jeff, what's up? What we're talking about today, you guys, is we're talking about how you can tell that how you can tell you're an addict. Okay, how you know that you've crossed over that I'm just having fun or I'm just partying on the weekends kind of vibe. Okay, so it all starts out for me. It started out as I was just a weekend warrior. I was 17 years old. I was a cheerleader. I was in the band, and I went to every basketball and every football game because I had to cheer. And so I went to every party afterward. Hey, Great Dane. And I was very active, with other people that were partying. Plane, PL. No, that's a Q. Here, I'll do plane as in plane that you fly.
Plane crash.
Plane crash. All right. Here you go. All right. Love you, Bubba. Okay. So, hey, Kim. So I'm glad you guys are all here. So we're talking about, how I realized that I had a problem, how I finally came to terms with the fact that I was an addict and an alcoholic. So at the beginning, it was really, really hard because I didn't think that I had a problem because I was only partying on the weekends. And because I was in high school, I would party on the weekends and then I would go to school during the week. Of course, I was skipping and I would miss days and um, I remember me and my sister, we used to skip all the time. And she would beat me here to the house. And then I would show up and there she would be. I'd be like, girl, how'd you know I was skipping? Hey, Margie, I'm glad you're here too. Welcome to everybody that is new to my channel. We're almost at 2,600 subscribers, you guys. And I'm so freaking excited. Thank you so much, Kim. Thank you so much, girl. I see you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Please know that. You guys, you're not going unnoticed. Like, I really appreciate you guys. You guys are helping me and my channel so much. Y'all are helping me grow my channel. And I hope that I'm helping you guys in the same process. But thank you so much. Um, so I was partying on the weekends. I thought I didn't have a problem. It wasn't until I graduated high school, you guys, because in high school, there was no way that I was going to admit that I was an alcoholic or an addict. There was no way, especially because I was so young. When you're 17 years old, you don't think because you're getting high and because you're getting drunk that you're an addict or an alcoholic, right? But I'm going to tell you guys something. I was. I was an addict the moment I picked up my first drink. I was an alcoholic and an addict the first time I used because the first time I took alcohol and drugs into my body and I got that feeling, that relief that they produced, I wanted it. I wanted it more and more and more. And I would do anything I could to get that relief. If I knew I had to be home at midnight and I was at a party, I would call and make an excuse of why I couldn't get home so I could stay longer to get drunk and get high. Um, I kept on increasing, increasing, increasing. I didn't want to stop because at that time I wasn't having any negative consequences. Hey, sunshine. I wasn't having any negative consequences. And that's how a lot of the times, because we don't have negative consequences at the beginning, that is what keeps our mind rationalizing and justifying our use, right? We think, oh, well, I have a job, I have my kids, I have a car, I can pay my bills, I got my life together. I'm going to tell you guys right now, just because you're able to keep a job, just because you're able to, take care of your children, you think you're taking care of your children. But if you're under the influence of any alcohol or any drugs and you have your children around, you are not being the parent that they need you to be. All right. And listen, I understand. I used to think that my son wasn't affected by my addiction. I used to think, hey, Tony, I used to think because my son was so young that me getting high, he didn't know, he didn't see, he didn't realize it, right? But I'm here to tell you guys that my 10-month-old baby, he knew that I was getting high. He sensed it. Children are so they feel the tension. Like my son, when I would see him at visits, when he got taken away from me, I would be so emotional and I would cry so much that my son didn't want to come to me. He only wanted to go to his daddy. And because he sensed that I was in despair, he sensed that sadness, and it made him uncomfortable. So he would just go to my husband. I'm telling you guys, like if you're using and drinking around your children, they know. They know, and you're doing them a disservice by keeping them around you while you're drinking and getting high. The number one thing that you need to do if you're struggling with addiction or alcoholism and you have children is you need to contact a loved one and say, listen, loved one, can you please take my babies for right now until I get help? I need to go get help. Because if you don't, you'll end up losing them like I did. You'll end up getting your children taken away. I wish that I had realized the damage that I was doing. I wish I could realize that I was totally neglecting my child's needs. Just because you feed, change, and clothe your kids, just because you're doing the basic necessities of life, it doesn't mean that you're doing everything. It doesn't mean that you're being present. And that's where I was missing out with my son. I was missing out on that connection because I was high. And so I'm not proud of that at all, you guys. But I still didn't realize that I had an addiction. So before my son was born, I would probably say it wasn't until I went into treatment for my first time that I really could admit that I had a problem. And by me going into rehab, that was me admitting, like, I have a problem and I really need help. And at the time, when I went into treatment for my first time, I went into rehab for um, benzos and opiate addiction. Okay. I was smoking meth, but my main problem at that time was benzos and opiates because I couldn't get off them without having withdrawal. Okay. Now the meth was always there. It was always a problem. I was always smoking, snorting, shooting methamphetamine, but I didn't really look at it as that much of a problem because I didn't have debilitating withdrawal from it. But you got your shit together, and that's what's up. Props, girl. Not everyone admits it. Margie, I'm telling you, I'll be the first to admit. You have to give your kids a safe, drug-free place. Good stuff. Absolutely. And you guys listen, okay? If you have a loved one that's living in your home who's under the influence and you're sober and they're not, just that person being around your child is unhealthy for your child. For your child to have to see their other parent being out of it, it's damaging the child. And like I said, I know this because I did these things. I'm admitting to you guys right now that I kept my son in my house while me and my husband were under the influence. And we would argue and we would bicker, and my little baby was here during that. At the time, my mother and father in law, we were living with them. They lived in this house with us. And so, of course, they would take Nathaniel and they would have him in the room with them, and me and my husband would be in another room under the influence. But we were all still in the same house. And I'm telling you, if my mother and father-in-law knew then what they know now, they would have put me and Neil out. They would have put us out and they would have taken Nathaniel from us. But they didn't understand. Okay? They didn't understand that that's what they needed to do. You know what I mean? And so we all lived together in this house with this dysfunction. All right? And it caused a lot of just, oh, it was not good, you guys. It was not good. And I am extremely grateful that my little boy was very young at the time because he doesn't remember it. But that doesn't mean that it didn't affect him. Okay? That doesn't mean, let me tell you about Nate when he was little. When Nate was about to turn 2, he was really struggling with hearing. Okay, he couldn't hear. And no, he was about to turn 1.5. He couldn't hear, so he wasn't speaking. He was just saying like gibberish. And so I had to take him he was with his foster mom. Me and his foster mom had to take him to the hospital, right? And get tubes put in his ears so he could learn how to talk. Then he also had to get enrolled in special classes for developmentally delayed. And it's not because my son has a learning disability, but it was because I wasn't working with him. It's because I wasn't being a mom. I was being high. So because I wasn't taking care of my son, I wasn't learning him to do his ABCs. I wasn't having him identify his colors. I wasn't doing any playtime with him. When he was getting old enough to start pre-K, he was behind all the other kids, and that's because of me. That's because of what I took away from him, because I was in my addiction. So when I hear people, say things like, well, my kids are really young, you know, um, it won't affect them. I'm here to tell you that it does. I know it does because I saw it, and I saw my son struggle. I saw him struggle in pre-K and struggle to learn and catch up to everybody else. Okay, sorry about that. He struggled to catch up to everybody else when he was younger. Now my son is so smart. Shit, he's reading already. But that's because I'm working with him now, because I'm present, because I'm being the mom that I always knew I could be, That's why he's able to succeed and do better now, because I'm stepping up to the plate. I'm taking the reins. I'm guiding him. I wasn't doing that in my addiction. So, going into treatment for the first time, that's when I realized like I had a problem, but it was because of the withdrawal and not being able to get off benzos and opiates that I thought I had a problem. What I thought addiction was you're an addict if you can't get off something without having withdrawal, right? I didn't realize, sorry, I'm looking at my hair. I didn't realize that that's what dependence was. Dependence is when you can't get off something without having withdrawal. There's a difference. Addiction is everything else I was doing, but I was an addict already, right? Hey, Misty. I linked it at the very top of this chat, you guys. And it's in the in the community tab, just so you know. It's all bad, but I'm going to tell you what, benzos were especially hard because what they do is they linger. Okay, so like I got off benzos 4.5 years ago, right? But the first 1.5 to 2 years, I really struggled with just like a lot of anxiety, overwhelming amounts of anxiety that were not there until like the anxiety got worse after I got off of benzos. What up, High Steppa? It got worse as when I got off of them, and now thank God that I've been off of them for so many years. Like now, I feel like I'm normal, But I'm also on Lexapro and Wellbutrin, which I feel like those medications really, really do help me with my anxiety and stuff like that. So. I incorporated and I put these two things together. I thought withdrawal means addiction, right? And so that's why I went into treatment, because I couldn't get off those damn pills, and I didn't have enough money to have pills all the time. So I was always going through withdrawal. So that was one of the things that forced me into getting help, is because I was going through withdrawal all the time, and I was really young. I was like 20 something at the time. So that's what made me think, oh, I have a problem. It wasn't until I started really learning about addiction and realizing that, my brain, like I've always been addicted. I've always been an addict. Like I was addicted to shopping before I ever got high, you guys. I used to struggle with credit card, spending money on credit cards. I still do to this day. In fact, my husband and I um, you know, he trusts me and he loves me so much. But like I know myself and I know if there's a lot of money and we just have like a lot of money in the bank and it's just sitting there to like I have to tell my husband, "Hey, let's move some of this into savings because I like to just aimlessly spend money." Like I like to take money and then go buy Nate like two new clothes and a new toy. And it's like money that we could actually be saving for like stuff that we need, like a new couch, new washer and dryer, new tires on my car, new tires on my husband's car. Like we're both driving new cars, but we need tires and we need little maintenance things. You know what I mean? I do, Melissa. Like, okay, so let me give you guys an example. And this is an example of cross addictions. Like, I have cross addiction with so many different areas in my life, you guys. Like, I'm cross addicted to shopping, eating, and yeah, shopping and eating, really. Those are my main cross addictions right now. And what I want to do is I want to get into the hang of replacing that eating addiction with working out and going to the gym. So Neil said I could get a membership, but I just haven't pulled the plug and got it. I recklessly spend as well. It must be a part of the addict brain. It is, Tony, because we are all looking for this instant gratification. And when you're able to spend and get it, that's instant gratification. So is that just an addictive personality? And I Okay. And do you find a bigger spending problem now on subs or the other way? Hi, Steppa. I was a lot worse before I got into recovery. Now, I still have a problem with spending, right? I'm the first one to admit it. But I have really, really changed, really reined it in. And I feel like I haven't relapsed. Like I would call relapses like when I take the credit card and spend $100 or more on makeup for no reason. So I have but been doing really well because I haven't relapsed. And my husband keeps track of these things and he never gets mad at me because like of course it's my money. Like the money that I use, it's our money, like from his check and my check, it all goes into the same account. And so like I'm not just like taking money away from our bills. Don't get it twisted. But when I was in my addiction, I did do that. Like I would take out credit cards. That's why I have horrible credit. Me and my husband are working really hard to get my credit score back up. My husband, on the other hand, has really good credit because he has worked hard to get his credit score in the right place. But before I met my husband, I was so bad, you guys. Like I would take out credit cards, I would max them out. I'm talking maxing out $5,000 JCPenney credit card. I would buy things like I got new tires on my car because JCPenney had or Sears card. I got new tires on my car. I would go out and buy a whole bunch of purses, a whole bunch of perfume, makeup, outfits. Like I had an addiction to buying stuff. And then guess what? All that stuff I have nothing to show for. Now, since getting on Suboxone 4 years ago, now I hit rock bottom with my spending, you guys, because I became homeless, because I lost my jobs, because I maxed out all my credit cards. And so I couldn't have that addiction because I couldn't spend. So what I started to do is I started stealing. And so that was like another form of feeding that addiction in wanting stuff. Give me the stuff. I need the stuff. Fill me up, stuff. Give me that stuff. I need it to feel better. Give me the stuff. That was always what it was. Sorry. I don't know what is wrong with me today, y'all. But I needed stuff because stuff made me feel good. I spent $1,300 last week. My husband was pissed, and I don't know why I even bought some of the stuff I did. Melissa, I totally understand, and that's how I was. This was years ago, you guys. Don't get it. I don't have that kind of money to just be spending right now. Okay. Because I do have a 5-year-old, and a lot of the money that, here, I'll give y'all a breakdown. My husband makes about $3,000 a month. Okay. We get paid at the beginning of the month. We have to pay $1,000 in rent. Okay. So that's $1,000 off top. Then we have to pay about $800 between our two cars. Okay. So that's $1,800. So what, we got $1,200 left now. Then we have to pay for our Suboxone, which is about $200 between us. Just, y'all hear what I'm saying? Then we have 3 or 4 bills that we have to pay, like lights, gas, water, that kind of stuff, and a couple of credit card bills because we have 2 credit cards. And there you go. Our money is spent. We might have $400 for the rest of the whole month to live off of. So then I have a part-time job where I make about $300 every 2 weeks. So that's an extra $600 that we can live off of during the month. But you also have to incorporate food, which is about, we spend probably about $400 on groceries a month for this household. Between milk for my son, because he goes through a gallon of milk every 3 days. I'm talking cereal, meats, all kinds of stuff. So gas, hygiene stuff, shampoo, all that kind of stuff, right? So we make just enough money to live our life, to have, our house, to have our stuff, and that's it. We make just enough to live okay, to live paycheck to paycheck, basically. So I can't just go and spend aimlessly like I used to. But there's sometimes where I relapse and I go out and we might have a little bit of extra money that month, and I use that extra money and I buy cologne for him. And what I'll do is I'll buy him a cologne and then I'll get myself something. But I use I bought you something, so that way he doesn't get so mad. Do y'all know what I mean? Yeah. Dang, Misty, really? That's so. I live in a 2-story, big old giant house, y'all, and it's $1,000 a month. But that's because it's from my mother-in-law. If it wasn't her, we'd probably be paying about $1,200 for it. She gives us a little bit of a discount. But I have noticed since getting sober that my addiction to spending, because what I do is I work my recovery steps, and I do realize that spending money like that, Melissa, I'm talking to you, girl. Spending money like that it's just a way that we want to feel better, and I do the same thing with makeup, okay? And I don't want you guys to ever think like I've done the same things and I struggle with the same things. I just want us to be able to work together on getting better and not doing those things, And so if you realize that you're struggling, that you're spending money that you don't have or that you do have, but you shouldn't be spending it, this is what I suggest, okay? And this is what has helped me. If you have access to credit cards or a bank card, get it out, get it away from yourself. Give it to your husband, get it away, cut it up, whatever you have to do, get it out of your hands and put it into someone's hands that loves you enough and wants to help you to be better, okay? Not somebody, don't get me wrong. I don't think that you should have to ask your husband every time you want to buy something, because I don't. But you guys are working together to have this household. And so if you to work together, you have to communicate. And so that's what I've had to start doing. Like this morning, when Neil got home last night, I told him I bought that phone stand for my dashboard in my car. And I told him right away, hey babe, I got the phone, the dashboard thingy majigger for my phone so I could vlog while I'm driving, because I want to start doing car chats on my channel. And I let him know right away, like I spent $20 on that phone thingy, and he was like, what? And I was like, babe, it's for my channel. And he was like, okay. You know what I mean? I think for my husband, he's just so frugal and he's like, so like, he just, well, I say that. And then the other day, like 2 months ago, he went behind my back and got a $200 gun. So we're kind of equal, you know? He'll do things like that, like make big purchases. And then I'll be like, where did that, what? And he's like, I got a gun. And I'm like, and you're tripping on me buying a $45 makeup palette? You know what I mean? But we work it out. Amazon is my biggest problem. Melissa, and here's what I do, Melissa. It's like I'll get online and I'll just be looking at all the cool stuff. And I'm like, I want that, I want that, I want that. You know, very expensive. Thankfully, we have Aldi and here now, so it's a huge saver on food. That's good. It's gas here is it's 270 a gallon, 270 a gallon, I think. And cigarettes are like $10 a pack, about $8 a pack here in Arkansas. But I don't smoke cigarettes, thankfully, anymore. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, even if we're addicted to substances, when we get sober from drugs and alcohol, you guys, our addictions can cross over and manifest themselves in other parts of our lives, like spending addiction or sex addiction or gambling addiction. And so, you know, admitting you have a problem and learning how to address it and accept that fact is key. Okay, so let me read this part to you. Most of us have been unwilling to admit we were real alcoholics or addicts. No person likes to think he is bodily and mentally different from his fellows. Therefore, it is not surprising that our drinking careers have been characterized by countless vain attempts to prove we could drink like other people. Hey, thank you, Great Dane. You're so great. Hey, Des. $3.87 a gallon there. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Gas here is almost $5. Really? It's not quite $3 a gallon here. Isn't that awesome? So even in this book, it tells us, like, most of us are unwilling to admit we were real addicts. No person likes to think that they are bodily or mentally different from other people. Therefore, it is not surprising that our using and drinking careers have been characterized by countless vain attempts to prove we could drink and use like other people. The idea that somehow, someday, we will control and enjoy our drinking and using is the great obsession of every abnormal drinker, every addict or alcoholic. The persistence of this illusion is astonishing. Many pursue it into the gates of insanity or death. So basically, many people keep drinking and using until they die because they don't want to admit or accept that they are truly addicts and alcoholics and that they cannot drink or use like other people. You know, a lot of people can drink, snort a line of cocaine, smoke a joint, um, take some pills, and they don't have the compulsion to keep doing it like we do as addicts and alcoholics. Okay, that's the difference. And for us addicts and alcoholics, a lot of us, we obsessively think about one day I'm going to be able to do it. And if we're not thinking about that and we're relapsing, then we're thinking, oh, I'll be fine. This time is going to be different, right? And this is what we learned. We learned that we had to fully concede to our innermost selves that we were addicts. This is the first step in recovery. The delusion that we are like other people or presently may be has to be smashed. So basically, you have to stop thinking that you're like everyone else. We're not. We are addicts. We are alcoholics. We cannot drink and use successfully without shit. Every time I drink or use, I have bad consequences following behind. And so it wasn't until I fully admitted that I was truly an addict and that I wasn't like everyone else. I'm different. We're not normal. We're not normal people. Normies can drink and they don't have the overwhelming obsession and compulsion to drink more and to keep drinking until they drink themselves to death. I was talking to a lady today, and I really have to tell you guys this. I'm not going to say her name, but she called me and she was asking about just some advice about some stuff. And she was telling me about her sister. Her sister married into a family of alcoholics, and she ended up becoming an alcoholic also. And her sister ended up getting really sick, having some seizures, and went to the hospital. And they realized that she had cirrhosis of her liver. And so, of course, the doctors told her she needed to stop drinking, you know, and all that stuff. Well, long story short, she didn't stop drinking and she died at 44 years old from her alcoholism, from cirrhosis of the liver. And so this was a woman who had a great job, who had beautiful kids, young kids. Her husband had a great job, and they were both drinking. They would drink to party, drink to relax, drink after work, drink. And they were very successful in their lives, very successful. And because of that success with their jobs and all that other stuff, it, it, it allowed them to justify and rationalize in their minds that everything was okay. Look, we've got a house, we've got money, we've got our children. You know, there's nothing wrong. We're not sick. We don't have an addiction. We don't have alcoholism. But she ended up dying. She died from her alcoholism. You know, that's so painful. She died because she died from drinking. Now, I think when it comes to Coke, even those who aren't natural addicts, if they expose themselves for long enough, they will become addicts. You know, um, cocaine is a motherfucker. I used to shoot cocaine, and cocaine was so strong and so intense of a high. I was talking about this over on Derek's channel, I think, and with methamphetamine too, that when I would inject cocaine, the rest of the night I spent trying to get that same feeling. Okay? It was like I would chase it. I would chase it. I would chase it. And it was so elusive. The feeling was so euphoric that that's all I wanted. Um, I'll tell you this, she was near 30 years his junior. Wow. And so this woman that called me today, bless her heart, she's such a sweetheart, but it was her sister, you guys. That was her sister that she lost. And so it just, oh God, hearing her story, it just made me realize like I had to come and tell you guys about it. But I was so, and I asked her, said, I would love for you to come share your sister's story on my channel one day. Because here's the thing, you guys, like, that could have been any of us. You know, that's what alcoholism and addiction does. If we don't quit drinking and getting high, then our addiction will kill us. You know, it's just a matter of time. Um, I cannot tell you guys how many times I have shot cocaine and flopped. I'm talking hit the ground, bam, fell out because I shot so much cocaine that my heart, I don't know if it skipped a beat, I don't know what happened, but I shot some cocaine and I fell on the ground, crappie flopping like a fish out of water with the syringe in my arm still. I got up, my lips were blue, and I got up and I said, ah, and just gasped all this air in. And I was like, and my lips were purple and blue. And my friends' faces were like, you died or something happened, you know? Um, I think with exposure to any drug over time, that a person will become dependent or addicted to it, right? Um, but the difference between just a person that is exposed to cocaine over and over again is that person that's not doesn't have the disease of addiction, they can stop and walk away. That's the difference between an addict and a non-addict. Somebody who is not an addict, who doesn't have the disease. The disease is that compulsion. It's that overtaking of the brain. It's the losing the power of choice. You hear me? A person who isn't an addict can walk away. They can say, I'm done. This is it. I've been snorting cocaine for however long and I'm done with it. And that's it. They never look back. I'm telling you guys, like, it's crazy. It's crazy. I have had friends who used to party beside me just as hard as I did. And they got their degrees in college and then they walked away and they never came back to getting high. Just like that. Just like that. Nothing. Like it was like they dropped a hot tamale. Bop, I'm done. That's like I can't. That's not how addiction is not like that. Like it's a compulsion. It's an obsession of the mind. Okay. Um. Okay. Listen to this. We addicts and alcoholics are men and women who have lost the ability to control our drinking and using. Okay. So we are people who have lost the power of choice and we have lost the ability to control. Okay. We know that no real addict or alcoholic ever recovers control. So what that means is just because you've been sober for 5 years doesn't mean you can go out and get you a bottle or get you a line of cocaine or get you a couple pills and take a couple, sprinkle them in, and then you not do it again. That is the wrong idea. You're going to pick up right where you left off, and this book is telling us that right now. It's saying you will never regain your control. You will never be able to dibble dabble. Okay. All of us have felt at times that we were regaining control, but such intervals, usually brief, were inevitably followed by still less control, which led in time to pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization. We are convinced to a man that alcoholics and addicts of our type are in the grip of a progressive illness. Over any considerable period, we get worse, never better. We get worse, never better. So, if you're an addict or an alcoholic and you're continuing to drink and use, as your addiction progresses, because it gets worse, never better. Okay? Yeah, yeah. We are like men who have lost their legs. They never grow new ones. We are like men who have lost their legs. We never grow new ones. So, we will never be able to drink and use. Okay, guys? We can't. If we do, we're going to be risking everything, all right? Everything that we worked so hard for, because our addiction is in us and it's progressing as we stand. My addiction right here is like, Annie, when she's going to slip one day and we're going to pick up right where we left off. Every single time I've ever had 9 months, 6 months, 3 months of recovery, and then I relapse, I go right back to where I left off. Slamming dope, stealing shit, hustling folks, craziness. Neither does there appear to be any kind of treatment which will make alcoholics of our kind like other men. So there's no cure. There's nothing that's going to reverse the fact that you're an addict or an alcoholic. We have tried every imaginable remedy. In some instances, there has been brief recovery, followed always by a still worse relapse. Physicians who are familiar with alcoholism and addiction agree there is no such thing as making a normal drinker or user out of an alcoholic or addict. Science may one day accomplish this, but it hasn't done so yet. Despite all we can say, many who are real alcoholics are not going to believe they are in that class. By every form of self-deception and experimentation, they will try to prove themselves exceptions to the rule. How many of you guys have tried to prove yourself an exception to the rule and prove that you're not an addict or an alcoholic? If anyone who is showing inability to control their drinking or using can do a right about face and drink or use like a gentleman, our hats are off to you. Heaven knows we have tried hard enough and long enough to drink like other people. Hey, Nick. Here are some of the methods we have tried. Okay, so here are some of the methods that we have tried to drink and use and control our drinking and using like normal people. Listen, drinking only beer, taking only Xanax, limiting the number of drinks, limiting the number of pills, never drinking alone, never drinking in the morning, never drinking only at home, never having it in the house, never using or drinking during business hours, drinking and using only at parties, switching from scotch to brandy, switching from Xanax to Klonopin, switching from cocaine to methamphetamine, switching from vodka to whiskey. Okay, you get it? You get it? Taking more physical exercise, reading inspirational books, going to health farms and sanitariums, which is like a rehab or the crazy house, accepting voluntary commitment into an asylum. So these are all the different ways that we have tried to change it up and like not just quit drinking and getting high, right? I cannot tell you guys how many times I have said, well, it's that damn methamphetamine that keeps getting me in trouble. That's it. I'm never shooting meth again. I'm only shooting cocaine. Or that's it. I'm not drinking anymore. I'm only going to get high. Every time I tried so many different combinations, I can't even tell y'all. Oh, every time I would get high and I would pass out or go to the hospital on an overdose, it's them damn benzos. Every time I take benzos, I overdose. I'm never doing benzos again. Well, baby, it's not just the benzos, it's everything. We do not like to pronounce any individual as an alcoholic or addict, but you can quickly diagnose yourself. Okay? Step over to the nearest bar room or to the nearest trap house or to the nearest doctor's office and get yourself some pills and try some controlled pill popping, some controlled drinking, some controlled crack smoking, and yeah, let us know how it works out for you. Try to drink pop pills, smoke crack, snort meth, shoot heroin, and stop abruptly. Try it more than once. It will not take long for you to decide if you are honest with yourself about it. It may be worth a bad case of the jitters if you get a full knowledge of your condition. So basically, if and when you use drugs or alcohol, you find you cannot stop, you find yourself going back, you might be an addict or an alcoholic. You know what I'm saying? And so these are the ways that many people before us, many alcoholics and addicts before us, back in the 1930s, back in the 1940s, back in the 1950s, you know, they they were trying to get themselves sober. They were trying to admit and come to the realization that they were alcoholics or addicts. And a lot of the time, you guys, the very thing that's keeping us, hey, marijuana maintenance, hey, Daniel, a lot of the people that, a lot of the time, what it is inside of us is it's denial. It's just us lying to ourselves. And that's why when I talk to you guys, and I have learned through AA, through going to treatment, through studying about the disease of addiction, through listening to other people who have been sober longer than I have, that it's really, really important for me to just be honest with myself. And that's been a journey in itself for me, because I couldn't be honest with myself, and that held me back from recovery for a really long time. It was really hard for me to let go of my pride and say, I have a problem and I don't know how to get better. I was strung out, you guys. I was strung out on the needle, strung out on opiates and methamphetamine and benzos and all kinds of different drugs, but mainly meth, benzos, and opiates. And even as strung out and even as sickly, as small and skinny and fucking just looking crazy. Even though I had lost my son, I lost my jobs, I lost my car, I was losing my best friend, my husband. Even after all that, it was still so hard for me to let go of my pride and get the help that I truly, truly needed. It wasn't until, you know, I met with my son at the visitation, the first visitation that I was allowed to go to, and my baby boy didn't want to come to me because I couldn't stop crying. I could not stop crying. And it wasn't until then that I think I finally realized that if I didn't let go of all this pride, if I didn't let go of all this, the fear, the denial, the lies that I was sticking with, then I was going to lose my baby forever, you know? It really, really helped me to see my son and for him to be so withdrawn from me. It was the saddest, but the best thing at the same time. I get so much from these lives throughout my workday. At home, I can tap into just about anywhere. Love it. Daniel, I'm so excited that you love my life. You don't understand. I can't wait to have you back on the channel this weekend. I have to ask you guys a question. Daniel, since you're in here, listen. Am I echoing? Do you hear that echo? Because I saw you guys saying the other day when I had Kayla on that there was an echo. And so I don't hear it. But if you do, I need you to let me know. I think what happens is if you have any device on in the house that has me playing and you don't have that device shut off or it lowered all the way down, there's going to be feedback, okay? He's back with his mom now. Awesome or what? The poor folk who never get their children back must listen, Ian. That boy right there, and I wish I could show him on the channel, but that new COPPA rule, like I can't even have him come on anymore. Like he wants to say hi so bad, and I know he does because he'll come by and tap on my shoulder, but I've told him, I'm like, listen, the police, we're not allowed to have our kids on the channels anymore. Yeah, I know. I don't know what it is, and I don't know how to fix it. Hopefully, when you come on, I'm going to have Andrew on tomorrow, you guys. So hopefully, when Andrew comes on, we'll be able to hear it. Only Kayla was echoing. Now, Daniel, you were a little bit at the beginning, but what I think it was, I think maybe your computer was on or your phone was on. Oh, okay, so you didn't have, but I think Kayla might have had her like laptop or I don't know, but maybe it was the TV. I also think because she was real loud, like I'm real loud, maybe like when she was talking, it was, I don't know, but we'll figure it out. Hopefully everything will go smoothly tomorrow when we have Andrew on. I'm hoping it'll be all right. But I really get a lot out of doing these lives with you guys. Like I was just talking to somebody on the phone and that's what kind of inspired me to come on and talk about, you know, how do we know we have a problem, or when is it time to like really, it's always time to admit that you have a problem, but I think sometimes it just takes it takes certain shit happening for us to realize and finally come to terms with it. Yes, Great Dane. Yes. Okay, Ian. What I was thinking, when Nate gets a little bit older, if he wants to, like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Right now, this is the focus. The Real Talk Recovery is the focus of my life. My son, of course, my son is the focus. But this channel right here is so important to me, you guys. You guys are so important to me. Sharing my message, just coming on here and interacting with you guys, it really does help me a lot. You guys have helped me through some times where I've been really depressed and I haven't felt like I could get out of bed, and I was just having just a hard time in general. So I'm truly grateful for each and every one of you. Hey, Shannon. So anyway, I'm gonna get off here because Jeff's gonna go live at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, you guys. I think that is 6:30 my time. So in 1 hour, Jeff will be live on his channel, Therecovery, and we're going to have a recovery support meeting over there on his channel. So I'm going to be there because I promised him I would be there, and I usually don't show up, but I'm going to show up today. It could be my phone. I hear it sometimes when I'm talking to people as well. I thought all trouble was just to cease once I got the fancy new iPhone. Yeah, I know, right? Or you know what, Daniel? Next time you come on, maybe do you have a laptop? Maybe you could sign on through your laptop, and we'll see if that works better. Okay? We'll try different ways, and if we have to sign off and sign back on when you come on this weekend, we'll do that. We'll handle it. It'll be all right. But I love you guys. I just wanted, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed just talking about life and talking about addiction with me. Doing these videos helps me so much, and it makes me remember where I'm at, where I need to be in my recovery, what I need to do to stay sober, because repetition is key. When I come on here and I'm repeating the things that I know I need to do to you guys, and in turn it's repeating it back to me. Do you understand? So it's like a constant just bam, bam, bam. That's what it's always in my mind, playing like a tape over and over and over again. That's how I stay sober, you guys. It helps me so much. Practice, practice, practice. So, anyways, I love you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time with Andrew's story. And I know you guys will be excited. Andrew has written a book, like, you'll see. This guy's written a book about his experience in active addiction and everything that he went through. I'm going to let him share all about that with you guys. But I hope you guys will join us tomorrow night. Same time I always go live, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So I'll see you guys tomorrow night with Andrew, okay? Have a good night. Thank you, Great Dane, for all your hard work. And thank you, everybody, for giving this video a like. If you haven't already given this video a like, please, before you go, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And I love you guys, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.